The Pendulum of Time. Last week I had the very great pleasure of meeting Michael and Judith Basch once again, and they told me of their trip to Mongolia. And there in Mongolia was very much to see and admire. There were the vast empty plains that went to horizons. There was the flora with its strength to survive the hardest of winters. There were the rivers that flowed from the mountains, and there was the uniqueness of its wonderful people as well. They understood fully the balance of nature in connection with everyday life. But this beauty had its dark sides as well. There were the post-communist ruins of industrial plants, the huge blocks of flats that should never have been, and this was the saddest of all, the many ruins of fine Buddhist temples. Communism had had no time for religion, but then came the surprise. And the surprise was in the middle of nowhere and all alone on a plain. It was a beautiful Buddhist temple that miraculously had not been destroyed. And being open, Michael and Judith Basch entered in. And there, in front of their eyes, was the Pendulum of Time. A grandmother, her daughter, and her daughter's daughter. 3 generations. And what they were doing was not only telling, but moving as well. The grandmother was carefully wrapping sacred books in fine silk, and whilst doing so, gently patting each one and saying a prayer. Her daughter was very clearly nervous and wanted to leave. She was still feeling the terrible oppression of times that had gone. But the granddaughter was doing exactly the same as her grandmother, gently patting each book and saying a prayer. It was as if communism had never existed. This was the magic of belief. The pendulum had swung back again. It was spring when Michael and Judith Basch visited Mongolia. And it wasn't only the flowers that were coming out again. The Mongolian soul was blossoming too. Believing was once again free. And that was the wonderful thing. The Pendulum of Time. Michael and Judith Basch.